All right, we'll wrap up today with Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Ground Toyota. Denny's currently 26th in points, back-to-back top fives at Darlington and Charlotte before an accident at Dover left him in the 30s. 4 wins here at Pocono, tied for his career best at any track. Also has 4 wins at Martinsville. Denny, obviously, you're going for those wins, trying to get that wild card. Talk about your approach here at Pocono.
It's obviously it's a great opportunity to try to get a win. We feel like our cars are very strong and capable of that right now, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be coming in here with 3 consecutive top fives. But circumstances took us out last week, and now we just got to work that much harder if we want to achieve that chase spot.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation. We're going to start over on this side with Terry and Candace. We'll come over here. Let's go ahead and ask.
I can hear you.
Denny, Toyota announced this week that they're going to make some changes with the new program, maybe dial it back a little.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stand on that, and what do you think will happen?
Well, obviously, it's disappointing from the driver's standpoint. We feel like things were really going well for 10 weeks or so, and then we had a couple of episodes. I think that TRD has identified the issues. They brought us all together and talked about our short and long-term plan to fix it. So they're going to do everything they can. Obviously, they want their first championship, and so they're going to do everything they can to get that. I feel like in the offseason they obviously took a great step forward in power. It showed up on the racetrack the first 13 weeks, and then with some issues, now we've got to dial it back some and see if what the payoff is from power to reliability, because ultimately with this point system you just don't wins 30th is worse than a win is good. So it's just you've got to finish these races, and that's what all the teams identify.
Denny, this is Candace Smith, tracking the circuits. I heard in passing, and if it's not true, let me know, that since the repave, since the repave, you're not feeling as comfortable here, and you used to do quite well. Is there memory muscle, though, and is it something you're hoping to get to and just really make this, once again, one of those tracks that you just do great?
Yeah, I think you do drive it the same. I think that what you need to do to go fast around here is the exact same, but with no tire wear, since it's a new surface, track position is the biggest factor. So you need to qualify well. If we don't qualify, we're going to start mid-pack, which is going to be tough. But it is. It's just a complete different racetrack. Anytime they put new pavement on it, everything changes. The whole new ball game changes. The setups are no longer the same. So it's you pretty much learn all over again. You can pretty much, similar to like Kansas or Michigan. We've all won at those tracks before as well. But you can really take all your past winners and throw them, all your statistics out of the window once a track configuration changes, and it has here at Pocono. But we still run really well here. So I'm as optimistic. I feel like the way we've been running, we can win pretty much any given week. So we've got a little over 10 to get it done.
We'll come up front here to Reed, and then we'll go Lee, Nate, Bob.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, first of all, how are you feeling? Looked like a pretty hard hit at Dover.
I feel pretty good. Actually, afterwards, I felt the best after that Dover race. Of course, I was 20 laps short of the finish, but better than I'd really felt there after any Dover race. So I think that physically everything was good. It didn't affect me at all. Obviously, it kind of caught me off guard when it did blow and hit the wall, so I really didn't have time to get tight or anything. So everything was pretty good.
And starting 17th as opposed to having a chance to qualify, does that change your approach to the race and what you have to do?
Yeah, one thing is because we've been on such a qualifying roll, I don't know what our average is this year with me in the car, but it's been pretty low. So I think that obviously not qualifying will hurt us. It also, we're going to lose a practice in the sense of trying to get a feel for what we've got for power and things of that nature. So I think that we would like to have practice, but everyone's in the same boat. And 17th, it's not too big of a deal. This race is long enough where you can make up for it. But obviously, if you qualified inside that top 5, you'll have those optimum pit selections for the pit timing marks. All those little things help you finish well. So obviously, it'll hurt us a little.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Have you seen the replay of Jimmy jumping the restart with Juan Pablo on Sunday? When you look at guys, a lot of times we have restarts and guys lay back. Who's really the best competitor out there at hosting other competitors and getting them to jump the restart?
It's really tough to identify one person that really everyone kind of plays the games at the end. But if you're not the leader, you can't play games. You have to just do whatever the first car does, and if you get beat into the first corner, then so be it. That's why that guy is the leader, and he has that right. So there's some guys that have toyed around on restarts all the time. I've done it, and everyone's done it at some point. But I don't think that there's really one certain person that is worse than another.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Denny, you're now, I think, 74 points out of 20th. Have you looked at, and is it still feasible to you? I guess if you win races, it takes care of itself. But knowing that you're like almost more than a race and a half that you have to make up there just to get in the top 20 to become wild card eligible, have you looked at that? Have you made the numbers?
Yeah, this point system's tough. It really we're in a hole. Obviously, it gives us a chance at least to based off of wild cards, but there's just not enough bonus to run it well in the top 5. Like I said earlier, that the 30 to 35th. On performance, I can't make that up in the next 10 weeks. I'm not going to run. I've got an average now 2 spots better in each race on performance just because I had one bad finish for the next 13 weeks. So that's a crusher as far as that's concerned. So that part of it's tough. But obviously, if we do win a couple times, more than likely, we were edging our way and we were going to be in good shape had we not blown that tire. We would have been down in the 40s to 20th with plenty of time. Now we set ourselves back to where we're pretty much where we started again. So it's we've done the math. We know what we have to do, but obviously we know that every bad finish just it hurts us that much more.
Can you still do it on your own, or are you going to need other guys to step in?
Well, like I said earlier, it was a double blow with Tony winning. I'm happy for him. But either way, him and Juan at the end, it was not looking good for me, I guess you could say. But I said earlier, we weren't going to keep those guys from winning. They were going to win at some point. Same with the 78. I feel like he's going to win at some point. So I'm going to need to get 2 wins. It's going to be, if I get 1, then it'll put me in the mix. But then I'd have to leapfrog those guys in points, and with the bad finish that I had last week, it's going to be pretty hard to do. So I'm going to have to rely on, I think, 2 wins and then barely get in that top 20 at the end.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Considering where you're at in points, do you hold up your hand and tell Toyota, I'll take the most horsepower? And, if it blows, so what? You're so far back.
Yeah, it's something, me and Darian have talked about. Maybe if it gets down to maybe if it gets Richmond time and we've then eliminated ourselves, then maybe we become the test car. I don't know. But right now, obviously, like we saw this past week, we can't afford to be the test car because then we don't end up in the top 20. So we got a race and a half to make up just to get there, and obviously another bad 30th, which you got to figure something in the next 13 weeks is going to law of averages is going to happen. So we can't afford more than one, that's for sure. So I don't think we can afford to be the test car right now, but possibly later in the year.
We'll go Dustin, Jim, then wrap up with Claire.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Denny, you guys talk about all the time, the emotions, you have to keep those in control because things change from week to week. But as you go through this and the highs of getting top fives the first couple weeks back and then what happened last week, how are you able to control that? How are you able, is that more of a challenge than any other normal year?
Well, it was frustrating because, we just were making big strides, and then really, from the number standpoint, that one bad finish just took us all the way back where we started again with now less races to do it. So, we've got a huge task, but, you just can't miss 5 races and expect to be where you want to be in points. It's just not going to be possible. So it's, you reassess your goals, but, also take into consideration that, that's probably the second best I've run at that racetrack, and had, that circumstance not happened, had we not just run over something, we would have had a shot at a win. So, at least feel like we've turned the corner at that racetrack, and if we were to make it, that I would not be not looking forward to Dover as much, going back there for a chase race. So the good news is for us is we're starting to take our bad tracks and slim them down to fewer and fewer where we can't win at. Now, it's really kind of road courses where we have run good enough, but we haven't got that win where those are our weak tracks at this point. So, yeah, we just reassess our goals and change them every single week. But obviously, every week I go out, I'm gonna drive as if I need the win, and obviously it takes its toll maybe on your competitors because you don't let as many pass you and things like that. But we're in a little bit different situation than everyone else is right now.
Do you feel, and I know you talk about having 2 wins, do you feel like you need to get one of those 2 wins by New Hampshire, July? You look at here, look at New Hampshire, even Daytona. Those are tracks you can have success, especially in New Hampshire. Do you feel like you don't get one by New Hampshire that pressure builds on you, the team, whatever?
Yeah.
Even though you guys have success in some of the tracks later on. Is that a breaking? Not a breaking.
I think it is. I think New Hampshire will be a key race for us. Obviously, we did win the 2 leading into the chase last year between Atlanta and Bristol. And we should have won Richmond. So we've got some really good ones down the stretch, but I don't want to have 3 races to go and need to win 2. That's pressure. For sure, but we don't want to wait that long. But that's a balance too, because now we got, we haven't used any of our tests yet at JGR, and so we're trying to talk our teammates into going somewhere they've already tire tested, because we know we need to get wins at those racetracks, but they have bigger goals because they're already got their wins and are looking towards the championship. So we kind of got to. We got to figure out where we're going to test, because we don't want to. I don't think the thing to do is wait until chase time and use them all up. I think you run yourself a little dry by doing that. So we're going to try to get some racetracks scheduled here in the next couple months where we feel like we can. It's where we already run good, but we need to go there and dominate, similar to what we did in New Hampshire last year. So we need to capitalize on those type of racetracks, and we need to test at them. One good thing is we're testing Atlanta. The 11 team is here in the next week or so, so maybe we can improve on our good performance we already won there with last year.
Jim Noble, ESPN. Social media question for you here. Who is your favorite person within the sport to follow on Twitter, and do you feel your personality comes across on social media the way you want it to?
Well, start with me first. Definitely not. I told all my followers, you want something interesting, follow me when I'm retired. I've got some good stuff I could give you, but no, all my people, I guess you could say, they said I need to lock myself out of tweeting after midnight. So I've almost hit the send button a couple times and didn't do it, but it's different because the different players in different sports, they don't have any sponsors to answer to. It's just kind of the team, and if they perform well, the team doesn't care. So it's a little bit different when you got the responsibility of being the face of a Fortune 500 company. So it's that's all a little bit different, but I do feel like I do express myself as much as I can without being inappropriate at times, but still it is fun. You got to deal with the good and the bad. Obviously, when you have a lot of followers, you've got at least a quarter of them are haters, so you're gonna have to deal with the good with the bad. So it's fun. But following another guy, gosh, I don't know who's the most interesting. I really don't think any of them are very interesting on Twitter per se. I don't know. I guess they're all pretty predictable. Nothing really excites me when I turn up Twitter and see my competitors.
All right, we're going to wrap up here with Claire.
I don't even know if I could follow that one. You were talking about it raining and how a lot of people don't know what to expect in practice tomorrow, and you haven't had the gauge from today. But you being so good here, do you not feel that if there was no practice today, you sort of have an advantage, or with the Gen 6 car, maybe not so much?
I think we've done a pretty good job of, even though we've gone to new racetracks with this car, we have so much information, simulation-wise, I guess you could say, in the shop that they pretty much nail it right off the bat. So it's not like it used to be where you had a complete, really with the car tomorrow, before simulation really got big, you had to go to a track and you had to test there, and NASCAR almost mandated a extra day test at every track we went to because everyone was so terrible. Nowadays, we are basically on the same chassis we were on last year, with a few minor tweaks here and there. We're just on a different shell. So I think that we've become smarter with learning kind of the aero balance and what it takes for this car to work. And so, all the engineers, especially at JGR, have honed in on what it takes to. I have full faith we could really just run 10 laps of practice and pack it up and let's race, and we would be fine. So I think the teams have just gotten that much smarter with it.